welcome everybody to the Community Development Committee meeting, and we're going to introduce ourselves. First, I'm going to have Dan Demerit. Is he on there? Okay, so we'll have Dan Demerit who's going to join us by Zoom. Introduce himself when he is on. All right. Hey, Dan. You're muted at the moment. You may not be on yet, but I was going to have you introduce yourself when you're on.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yep.
All right, I'm Dan Demerit. I'm gonna stay on mute most of the time.
Yep, he's the town council chair of the town council. And we can start here.
My name's Al Larson.
Nancy Larson. Same.
Hi, Chad Eddie. I live down, what they call the top end.
I'm Matt Powers. I'm on the town council.
I'm Erin Lanigan and I live on Stoa.
Andrea Artisan, I live on both sides and down as well.
Mitch Stone, assistant town man.
So I have a hard 4 o'clock. I get out of here when kids go and take kids to soccer and stuff. So what I'm wondering, I know we have the still water safety and we have the top end traffic calm that we're going to discuss today. Is there and then we have something that's more of prioritization of this committee from a survey that we put out about the town. I don't know if you guys filled that out, but so we need to start looking at prioritizing that. So I'm thinking of maybe bumping that agenda item and get to it at hopefully 3:35 or so. So we'll start out with a discussion of the still water traffic safety issues from Kelly Roads to the I-95 bridge. And I'm gonna have Erin just give us a little recap of her of what she told us before, and then I'm gonna.
Basically, so I live on Stillwater between Kelly and Forest. And the issue is that people are using it as a thoroughfare and it's not designed as a thoroughfare. And I don't have any objection if it is designed as a thoroughfare, but we have not done that yet. So there needs to be some prioritization of whether or not it's going to continue that direction or we're going to lower the speed limit in order to reduce the speed of people who drive. Nobody takes Kelly to the freeway to Kelly and gets off there. If they do, they're going all the way to Stillwater. So it bypasses us. The people that are driving on Stillwater through that intersection come from generally the Walmart area. They are going constantly 60 or above. That does get a lot faster at nighttime. We have accidents that nobody calls the police on, so the police are aware of it because they're not wanting to either involve their insurance or something like that. It's usually on the corner that is right after Kelly Road, so there's a corner halfway through, I guess, Kelly and Forest. If you go off road, you are in the trees. You're not in the culvert, you are in the trees, and you're launched. The school bus stops right there, and I have heard more than seen they squealing the brakes because they can't see it around the corner, and there's nobody behind them at that moment. The roundabout was a wonderful way to slow people down. It's been fabulous. I don't care whether it's actually stopped the accidents. What I've seen is that it has stopped the the impact, the amount of impact that's happened there. Every single person that I watched before the roundabout was put in was taken to the hospital. I have not seen anybody take the hospital since the roundabout was put in. These people are not going to Stillwater either. They're going all the way through. Sorry, when I say Stillwater, I mean Stillwater exit. If I turn left and follow the person that just came down from Bangor, I follow them all the way through to Old Town and beyond. So it's faster for folks to take Stillwater than it is for them to go from the intersection where Walmart is all the way to the freeway. And I can get to my house before you can get to the freeway entrance. So, my worry is that somebody is going to get killed. My worry is that we do have people walking it, we have people biking it, and those people do not drive. So I know that they're doing it out of necessity, otherwise they wouldn't do it at all. And I just don't want to see a loss of life, so I would really like to see something go there, and because it is a highway, and I'm aware that there's a little that we control. Speed is one thing we can't control, and I'm aware that's probably still not stop everybody, but there's a big difference between going 35 and speeding to 10 miles over, which is generally where people are, and 45 and 10 miles over, which is, anyway, so that's my way.
Mitch, I'm trying to remember, and you probably don't remember, and it's okay, but did they do a traffic study just recently down Stillwater?
I say traffic study.
Like amount, like compared.
There is some information that's closer to the highway, down by, the SR1. Where
Yeah,
the front was, as far as volume, kind of get an idea, but it's not necessarily that corridor, exactly what it is, but that has been done a little while ago.
And I know to get out of my driveway specifically, I have to wait for about 15 cars. Every single time. It's not one, it's 15. So we just sit there.
We're on, still on a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely, everything you said, back it up. And people tailgate, it's the worst, tailgating at speeds.
I have two relatively new drivers, for the last 5 years, and we had to teach them not to turn left. My next door
Right.
neighbor got
That's correct.
hit from behind, so it's, and we have new traffic now, which again is not, I think I said this at the meeting, so I'm saying again, sorry. The new traffic is not contributing to this, they've been wonderful, the new folks that live in the apartment housings. They've never been an issue, it is continued traffic that's coming from Bangor.
We have run board staff, and say traffic.
Yeah.
Glenbrook.
Yeah.
And it is horrendous, very fast, very dangerous driving. And speeding.
Yeah.
driving on state road.
All of it is concerning, but the one thing that popped up for me is the school bus. Do we have a school bus stops? And kind of like. the
There's no
signs,
signage.
there's no signage.
I think your concern more with the school bus is if they could see it, they would stop.
Yeah.
Because especially with the new big swing arm, but they're coming around that
They're coming around that
bend and
corner.
they can't see it, that's. So. Yeah, if they're at a high speed, they cannot be able to stop.
Well, so my son and I, my eldest son, is now 23. And back when we first moved here, he rode the bus for the first 2 weeks of school. And my younger son and I were sitting in our driveway after the bus had left, watching the trucks go by because I thought they were really cool. And a car launched itself into our driveway and I was like, I'm not from any of their fault, it was just like they were driving. So he stopped using the bus after that.
And this is, as we will just reiterate, this is a state owned road. So there's some limited things that we could do. Do you know, is there a process that of like asking the state about road safety stuff?
Oh, there's always.
Process. There's something done. So I guess, yeah, there's always a process and it might be something where or somebody looking into how we get that ball rolling. I know that, and here's my other concern, like, and I just talked to Clint about this. We will continue to give the town work to do until we're told that we need to stop. So that's something that you and Clint need to talk about. But or have a serious discussion, and I don't mind. I think that's part of, we all have work to do, jobs to do, and sometimes the answer is we gotta do it a little later. That's what will be reasonable, but I do think one thing that is in our control, what I'm trying to, assess is like, how do we decide this is a major issue and we should like slower the speed? Is there some process?
So
we
I
have to go
think,
through
I think the
for us?
first step is, I don't know, wait, don't quote me on this. I don't know that we can actually decide what the speed limit is, say, but I guess what I would suggest from a procedural thing for you guys is really trying to identify places that you want staff to look at and figure out what can be done over the concerns that have been raised, okay? And I think that comes down to, and all of these things kind of fall into this prioritization, and we don't call it prioritization, but here's a bucket of issues.
Yeah.
And how do we approach in a way in which we can, some of these issues may be. I hesitate to say this, there's simple solutions, or there's very easy ways to address them so that it can at least mitigate what's going on. Some of these may be much more difficult and costly, there might be a cost effective, piece to that. So I think that probably hearing what the issues are and hearing the level of the issue is helpful to understand where they might fit and what buckets they might need to fit in to help the staff. I think from a community development committee standpoint is you guys saying, these are the issue we heard, this is an issue we heard, there are these 3 things or issues we heard that we believe are, we would like to start with. And handing that to staff to go then back to okay, well, these are the things we need to understand before we can figure out, this issue, that issue, what are they? Is, what's the root cause of that? Is it speeding? If we stop speeding, do we worry about the bus being around the corner? Maybe we don't have to, because people are going slow enough to be able to stop and then get around the corner. But, and I'm just giving that as a random example, but that's what staff's job would be, is to try to take the concern and try to figure out how we manage that concern. To come up with a solution for what this committee has recommended.
Gotcha.
To the full council to then pass this out.
Specific care.
Let me talk about this area and we'll get to that. In fact, is it like a completely different area in town?
No, it's it's when you come out of the dump yard.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I know exactly.
You have to count to 20 while watching entire left-hand side. Yeah.
So this is what I've heard, so the issue on Stillwater, basically between Kelly and the freeway that we're thinking about is speeding and low visibility around her.
And I would say it's right below Kelly, actually.
Kelly to around.
No, I would say it's below Kelly.
So like
Yeah,
from
you
the
can't
spot,
see to go left.
where does Orono end there?
We have a big welcome to Orono sign.
Yeah, it's way down there.
Yeah.
We own a lot, not own, but
And just so I believe this issue is on that,
it is on this.
is on the survey.
Yep.
Yeah,
So
it is.
That is put in. And I believe your issue is on that survey, and I also believe your issue is on
Yeah,
that.
I know your issues on that
So
survey.
so those have all been.
Yeah.
And that was kind of been part of that, so I'm just stating that, not trying to say, tell us all you know, but these are there so that we are aware.
And trying to prioritize, we're working on a way to prioritize, and I also know that Kelly Road in and of itself, because I use it all the time off of Stillwater, can have issues.
Well, when I talked to the highway department, which I've talked to way too much in my lifetime, quite frankly. They had prioritized the flooding, and that was, they had been trying to work on that for 15 years, and they finally think that they have got, managed that very well. They were doing the culverts, and then they were wiping their hands of it. The one thing they said is, we don't control the speed, the town controls the speed. So, if that helps. I don't know.
Yeah, we'll have to double check on that. So speeding.
So, yeah,
Yeah,
can I jump in? So
Yeah.
is Forest Avenue and Stillwater both state roads in the sense that Orono has less control over construction and things like that? Are they state highways, or what's the difference? So how do we get away with, so we put speed bumps on Forest, is there a difference between, I'm not suggesting a speed bump, man, that would be fun, right?
So
catching
so-
somebody at 65 miles an hour on a speed bump, but what's the difference between in
So-
town, Forest Avenue and out, you know?
It depends on how they classify them, there are state roads. So anything we do, we would have to communicate with them and get some level of approval from. And so that might change our ability, that might limit our solutions. But that doesn't necessarily mean there aren't any solutions, I guess is what I would say. Does that answer your question?
No, it does. It's helpful to know. I mean, and there are, yeah, it does answer my question. So we don't have, we have to collaborate with our partners at the state. But of course, they want Orono residents to be safe. So, all right, so staff would come back to us with, I mean, my first thought is, right, but this creates a process, is, bring the state in 3 o'clock on a Thursday and we'll talk to them. We'll put them on Zoom, we'll have a conversation. But I feel like the better course is, Mitch, for you guys to have those conversations first. Sounds like we do a better job when we ask you to present us with options rather than just kind of inserting ourselves into a discussion with other agencies until you guys have had, if you can't get it done, then we can insert ourselves in different ways. But it feels like having some options or a list of options for us to consider and potentially fund. Matt, when you talk about not giving staff more than they can do, well, the other side of that coin is giving staff the resources they need to do what needs to be done.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yep.
So
Yep.
okay,
I agree.
thank you.
Don't, and I have no problems just, saying this needs to be done when it needs to be done, so that's not the issue. It's just more, like, then having the staff be honest with us about when things can be, so we can be honest with you guys about, like, we're working on it, but this is going, there's timing things. So this is what I've heard so far. Speeding issues on Stillwater, starting maybe at the bottom of that hill.
Oh, they start from Bangor.
Yeah, they start from Bangor,
we don't
but like
control
the
that,
view,
so-
but there's not a lot of turnoffs on the bog, which is helpful.
Yeah, they're
Basically from the bottom of that hill from Kelly and then going basically to the Stillwater, or at least to the roundabout.
And at the roundabout, it slows down, everybody
Yeah,
slows
so
down, except for
we'll-
the few that drive over it, but.
For this, I think idea, should we keep it from the bottom of that hill to the roundabout just for the moment?
Yeah, I think the downward hill has been set up by police, there's nowhere
Yeah,
south of the roundabout to sit for a police officer, and they've been sitting in that,
and
so they've been slowing it down.
not as
quite a
much curbage either, and then is the forest a little bit further off the road there? I don't know, I don't remember, but anyways, so what I'm hearing is speeding issues, low visibility around, like, it's like a dog leg almost, right?
bit. Yeah,
The dog leg, and then the bus stops around that dog leg, because that's where there's a new apartment complex there, so they have to let in and let. the
oh no,
dog-
it's before that,
It's even before
it's
that.
before that, yeah,
Okay.
it's on the other side of my house.
Alright, so right around, and then exacerbating all of this is a traffic increase, so your chances of getting it go up, whether or not you're unlucky that day, you could be unlucky at more time. So those are what I'm hearing from you, and so these are the kind of, Mitch, if we came to you guys and said, here's the issues, does that seem to be kind of a list?
Well,
And then,
right, I think that, we're going on, what I'm hearing is it's unsafe.
Yeah.
Speeding.
Yeah.
Visibility in some areas, which is compounded by speeding.
Yeah.
Traffic, which is compounded by speeding. So, as we go through this.
Yeah.
You might solve one problem and take care of all of them.
Yeah.
You might, I don't know that we're gonna be able to move the road,
Yeah.
so the dog leg might have to stay, but if we can slow the traffic down, then the dog leg's less dangerous, right?
Yes.
So, I think understanding those pieces will help us start to look into what do we need to research to make sure that we have what we need to work, to move forward, to address.
alright, and then, so we'll give you those issues and then I'll let you, there's all sorts of things that pop into my mind, but I think it's better for you guys to come back with kind of an option and then we can discuss those. How does that sound to you, Dan?
It sounds good. I think, I know that the folks there from Forest Avenue, so it strikes me that, if we find some kind of interesting, innovative ideas for Stillwater, we'd make a whole lot of people happy on Forest if we could apply those there. I mean, if they're kind of similar tactics for both stretches of roads where we have, rural residents struggling with high speeds, it would be great if we could also think about, how good solutions that work for Stillwater can also be applied to Forest.
That sounds like a good thing. I mean, yeah. All right, well,
about Stillwater.
yeah, we're still on Stillwater. Yeah, we will get to Forest in a few minutes. Let's see if we can at least hear about it. Could you introduce yourself?
Teddy Jan Coble, 15 Mountain View Drive.
So the next kind of item that we've already been talking about, and we kind of have to put in a similar bucket, would be tough end light traffic. Particular traffic issues or traffic calming possibilities within the tough end. And in particular, you're worried about the curve right at your house, right at Water Street.
Broadway, me, that corner right there is crazy when you get to Long Stretch Road. Where Broadway turns from where we live at 3 Broadway all the way down. Facility plant down at the end, it's quite a stretch where cars can become quite momentum. Really, lay that one.
Do we own a traffic counter? Or does the state own traffic?
We can get, I mean, once again, that's part of the process.
I was just curious.
Yeah, we can get access to those things depending upon
Yeah.
where.
I was just curious.
Does the traffic counter tell you the speeds as well?
So it can, it just depends on what we ask people to do or tell. So
Interesting.
some we can get, you can do both, some can count the traffic, some can do speed, some can. I mean, they have lots of, but once again.
Yeah, I'm gonna let you
trying to
guys-
understand that problem and
Yeah.
prioritize where we wanna implement this, because there sometimes is cost to those things.
I think, so. We've discussed that particular portion of the tough end before. Dan, did you? It sounded to me like last time we were talking about this, you were thinking of more overall ideas about the tough end. Am I right about, or not ideas, but more a little bit broader issues? Or do you think we need to be laser focused on the Water Street Broadway, like 90-degree
No,
turn?
I think we could make a lot of tough end residents pretty happy if we kind of took more of a comprehensive approach to that neighborhood. I think Forest got, the inner Forest Avenue got, responses with the speed tables and the raised sidewalks. I think it makes sense for us to think about the tough end in a comprehensive kind of way, in terms of, because I know people whip around, can get really fast on Pine Street. And then, Chad's corner right there is something that needs to be addressed. And I don't know if it's, the task is, and again, I mean, I don't know how many of these we can get away. We'll have to sequence it and task it to staff, but I don't know if there's a, traffic study. We'll get an engineering firm to do something for us. Could we, do we close traffic, make traffic one way at some point so that we take that corner right off the grid?
So Dan, we're getting back
Yeah.
into the conversations we had before about trying to solve the problem, right?
Right.
Here, and I think what staff would be helpful to staff is for you folks to prioritize what you want us to look at, because we can't do everything all at once. We can figure out a plan to how to address what and where, and then let us come back with some ideas about how that might work.
Dan, I also feel like, me personally, but I don't mind. But I feel like if we wanted to do a more comprehensive top end, like traffic calming issues in a more comprehensive way, I would like to have a tough end, like community meeting with this, like, committee. And have it be like in an evening, but that's me, I don't know what you're thinking about
I'm thinking
that.
I'm thinking that exactly, and that's
Okay.
of course work. That's work for staff. But yeah, I'd love to have people come in and talk with us about, and maybe we have to hire a consultant, traffic, a traffic consultant or something like that. I guess I would ask staff to give us their ideas about. Yeah, we're not going to solve it. This
Yeah.
implement or that. But if we really want to do something comprehensive, what's the right way? What would be the right process staff wants us to, resource to make it happen? Or element,
So
it's like.
Sorry, so I think, this is how I feel like we should approach this, Dan, and you tell me, what you think, and Andrea, you tell me what you think here. What I feel like is this is something that we should be working on more comprehensively, more like in the spring, and if we do. But I also don't want to leave this one particular thing, this 90-degree angle, until then. And I would be more comfortable asking the staff, is there what they think are ways that might either slow people down around that corner, or what would happen if that corner was somehow not really accessible, and just look at that one corner for now and ideas about it, and then move on with a bigger comprehensive plan later, or do you think that is?
I think that's perfect, because I think
That's what I
Chad's
think.
gotta, yeah, I think that's perfect. We gotta kind of shave some, create a little safety around that corner as a down payment, and then schedule a more comprehensive discussion when we have time. I think that'd be great.
Yeah, so.
What's Chad think? Is Chad nodding, or
Yeah.
is Chad shaking his head?
No, I think that's a great idea, and I think that's a good way to go about it, because that corner is definitely an issue. I do like the idea if we put speed tables in that, you gotta strategically put them, because I do notice on Fourth Avenue, behind the car, they do go out around them. So down there on Broadway, there's the big person parking lot. You definitely want to put down the future, put a speed table away from that so cars can't go. But that corner is really waiting for something to happen bad.
So this is, again, I don't wanna give you solutions. So my idea would be, how do we slow down?
What are the options?
Like,
Well, if I could just.
Yeah.
So this past week, down on our corner, there's a tree removal company removing a great big tree. Coming down Water Street around the corner was an 18-wheeler that had to sit and wait 10 to 15 minutes for the tree company to move their stuff out of the way, because it's just not enough room for an 18-wheeler to come around that corner. Even if a car was coming, there's not enough room for an 18-wheeler in a regular vehicle to merge and come together. I would love for you guys, just two people go 25 miles an hour down Water Street and Broadway at the same time. Try to come around that corner at the same time. You guys will run into each other. It's almost impossible to do it. So
Has
just,
there ever been a study or look at into making one-way streets in that area?
I think that there used to be,
I,
not at that corner, but there used to be a different one-way street. That came
There is a
around that
one-way
way.
street down.
No, there is still, but I think there actually used to be another one about 15 years ago. And I don't remember when it changed, because I don't go down there very often. But then my question is, why is an 18-wheeler going down that way?
well, you got,
Sean and Teddy
Sean,
probably
Teddy.
getting all their stuff dropped off, there's
Yeah.
no way for them to go around, so they have to go around that corner to get out.
then you got the new,
What you think? I mean, that's my,
yeah, the new apartments that are going in, the companies are dropping off equipment and stuff. So they come down around the corner.
Huh,
So
I'm sorry.
I'm just worried, somebody really getting hurt bad, or them sliding into our house.
Mm-hmm.
so I guess would be, you can look at all the options and let us know what you, I guess,
So I-
options, because
I guess,
know
I guess I'm
you
gonna
want me
go-
to be more targeted with what this is.
So I guess I'm gonna go back to what I said at the beginning. Trying to understand what you folks are prioritizing. And then from a committee standpoint, if you're asking staff to go do stuff, I think that needs to go back to the council with a recommendation that. From this committee, we have come up with these 3 things that we'd like you to focus on and come back with some information. I think
Yeah.
we've gotta figure out.
Yeah.
What that all looks like and time and all those sorts of things,
Yep,
but I think it's gotta go back. To the council with this is our recommendation for the first 3 things to look at, much like we did with the last.
So Dan, and I think going into the future, what I'd like to do for recommendations from this committee is that we'll give a small presentation to the council on our order. Like before we vote on it, and then the next time we vote on it, so that gives us all a chance to digest a little bit of it. What do you think, Dan, or do you think that that's too slow? And Andrea?
So let's hear from Andrea first.
Right,
You two are driving the bus pretty good, so. No, I do think we need to pick the priorities.
Yep.
I think we need to set timelines for when we are gonna look at a comprehensive neighborhood thing, so that they're not waiting for us to decide. And as Mitch said, your suggestion of presenting what we're looking at, why we're looking at it.
so
You know-
we're,
What's interesting too, in terms of the priorities is, like I also serve on the ordinance review committee, and Shelley gave us a 5-year plan sequence for addressing, to update our ordinances. So over the course of 5 years, we're gonna update, we're gonna look at every single chapter in the Orono Code of Ordinance and update them based on, staff recommendations and to align with current practices and how state some of our ordinances haven't been updated in 30 years. Just like kind of for routine administrative things, never mind if there's a policy initiative that the community or the council wants to pursue. So maybe our challenge as a committee is to do something similar, where we take this survey list and we can't go back to the council every meeting and say, we already solved speed. Well, on Monday, we solved speeding at Oak Street and on Main Street, right? So we took care of that already. But that's probably going to take Mitch and the team a little bit of time to actually do. We did our part, the glorious, courageous leaders that we are. But maybe the next step is maybe we take this survey, and I think the Forest Avenue, the Stillwater right at the top, but come back to council with like a 3-year plan, over the course of whatever, and with staff feedback on what we think the priorities should be, and just promise the people of Orono, with some kind of, get the council to adopt the plan, and we'll work it into, this committee could oversee, could be the coordinating or convening body. But maybe that's a way for us to go. So we take a 3 or probably 5-year approach to, ticking everything off this survey that needs to be done, right? Some of them, I'm not gonna ever vote to pull those speed bumps off Forest Ave. Somebody said take the speed bumps off Forest Avenue, and I'm not voting for that. But so anyway,
Yeah.
that's a thought. If we could, that way we give some real certainty to staff, and it's just like we do with paving the roads. Like I know my road's not going to be paved again, until 2027 or whatever it is on the capital improvement plan. Maybe we need a safety improvement plan, kind of a similar long-term approach, and based on, and so we're not just one-off in these things. Just a thought.
I really like that. And I think what that does is that if we have the plan and it's out on the web, people can see where we are on the plan. It also gives some stability and some foresight for the town staff, so it doesn't seem like we're hitting them every couple months with a new big project that isn't kind of like something that they can look forward to, because I do think that it's one thing, like my kids, I'm not calling you kids, you're not kids, but my kids hate it when I give them a chore that's out of the blue. They're much more likely to be okay if I've been like, okay, these are your chores for the week and I want you to do this Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, because that gives them a plan, and then they're planning around it, and I'm not taking them away from something else that they are already planning to do themselves. So I like this idea.
May I make a suggestion?
Yes.
You live there, I don't even know that problem. You're gonna have the solution, you've already thought of it. right? And I don't know if you've done, I don't remember, I took the survey, but do I remember if you asked me what the solution was for those areas? I wouldn't have known it, but you guys would. Can you send out a survey asking for what suggestions? Now, I'm not saying that's the solution, but they've thought about it. They're gonna know what will fix it and what
Right.
wouldn't.
But the challenge with that.
Well, I'm not saying you
No,
implement it.
what I'm saying though is the challenge with that is that there are so many factors that go into creating the solution. It's not as, the simplest thing that people say makes it really difficult on us, because if we do something different, like, well, why did you spend that much money? We have, maybe we have to do it this way, maybe we have to. Give us the time, we're gonna take the input. I mean, we've heard several times and I hear what you're saying and you guys haven't spoke, but I did hear some communication at the last meeting. We're gonna hear that and.
I
put
don't
them
mean
on
for
the
you
list.
to, I mean for that.
What do you mean?
So, so like, if I'm sitting here and I'm thinking of things for specifically yours. Would a yield site sell that? You know, and so but I don't know. And I know that you have to look into it, but I'm just saying, they may have a really good comprehensive list of ideas. Sorry, someone's calling, that's all I was saying.
Right.
And not that you have to take them.
So I would just go, not to move on from that, I hear what you're saying
Yeah.
and we hear those,
Yeah.
right? So those are all, but that's kind of what we do. Like, that's our
Yeah.
job, right?
Yeah.
So, what I would suggest a lot also with this plan.
Yeah.
Is that. A lot of these things are going to have financial implications, right?
Yep.
And when we yearly set our budget and work plan from a staff perspective, that doesn't necessarily have a ton of. Hey, we've got all this extra time and or money, and so I think it's to throw these things in, so I think. This also helps from a planning standpoint of
Yeah.
financially how council can support these initiatives.
And then
And allow that to work into the.
I also like this, Dan, because then if we end up with a grant, and Andrea, if we end up with a grant from some place, then we can work it into to some of these. Get some of these items done instead of being, like, take it all to something that may not. That is also good, but isn't solving some of these things that we want, so we can take a portion of those. Alright, so what I'm hearing.
I think it would be, I would
Yeah.
think it'd be great too to, integrate this with, the town's capital improvement, I mean, like, when are we gonna be, I know we don't have any water and sewer pipes under the still water. But, it makes sense to think about this comprehensively in terms of when are we gonna be digging up a road for this, or when is it on the state schedule to repave it? That kind of stuff, so that would take some coordination, it takes time to coordinate that, but if we really did it right, we'd have a plan that really perfectly aligns with kind of the capital improvement plan. And, our capacity as a committee to engage with stakeholders, so if we wanna do something comprehensive in, the tough end, where we're looking at things like, speed tables and stuff like that. I think there's just a lot of reasons why it makes sense to take this survey result and work on it, bring it into a 5-year plan that we could bring to the council, have a public hearing on, approve it, and really integrate it with the rest of the work the town does. On public safety too, right? So, cause some of it'll be enforcement.
So what you're saying is, bring let's say the speeding issues to the table, come up with a 5-year plan to resolve, look at it. My concern is why we shouldn't be putting years on somebody's life. I feel like
Right.
I can't back out my driveway because I'm worried about car around the corner. We have a little bit of time now with winter coming, we don't have kids out playing in the yard, out in the streets and that. But I don't think we can put 3 or 5 years on something where it's gonna impact somebody's life. May never happen.
I don't.
Because
I think you're thinking probably ought to address right away. And not have it be on year 4 of a 5-year plan. I mean, I think we're
Right.
closer to be able to, I would like to think we could do something, but I'm thinking more broadly about, when do we put up flashy lights at the landfill road or Taylor Road. So people know when someone's coming off that blind hill, that kind of stuff. But I think there's room to do something quick, like I don't know if it's quick's the right term, but let's look at a.
Well, I think the other thing, Dan, is once you start to prioritize these things or work on this plan, staff can also understand what's on there. And there may be short-term, like, the long-term solution is gonna be costly and time-consuming, but maybe there are some short-term solutions that can mitigate the problem for a. And the other thing that we have access to is what they call demonstration projects with DOT, that sometimes they will allow you to test the theory, right? Is, well, you know, speed bumps, you can get temporary speed bumps that you can try to say, hey, does this work here? Does it not work here? Does it cause things? So there are like kind of interim steps that you might be able to take to mitigate some of the challenges up front that may turn into long-term solutions, or may like, that did.
And I also think if we start planning both the long and the short, we will work with the town to prioritize things. It's not like we're saying, okay, now we're gonna have this plan and we're gonna put, you know, everything as far down as possible. No, we'll work with the town and it makes sense. All right, so yeah.
This idea that the neighborhood could come up with solutions that could be done timely, maybe lights, maybe some incredible technology. It doesn't necessarily mean you have to change the infrastructure of the corner. There could be other things that can be done that aren't 5 years down the road, that can be done more quickly and less expensively. But I don't understand why you wouldn't want to hear what the neighborhood has to say for suggestions.
I don't have any issue with hearing what the neighborhood has for suggestions. Yeah. And to be fair, we've heard a lot of these suggestions. I mean, we have had, and so
Yeah.
we're open to any suggestions, so I wanna be clear about that. I just.
To me, like, the 5 years down the road is what you're thinking about.
No,
No, what
no,
what
we-
they're talking about
This-
is taking the survey.
we have a big
and
survey.
being assessed, but like Chad's issue.
Yeah.
It's not gonna be 5 years from now. It's kind of like that capital improvement plan is a 5-year, 10-year plan. We're gonna take it and make it a safety improvement plan. And figure out what can we take care of now, what do we take care of later, and I think once we get through the holidays, setting up a meeting with the neighborhood so that they could come in with their concerns. But Mitch would take it to Public Works and staff and say, this is what they want done, how can we do it, and what's the most cost effective way?
And they also know like what's legal and not, like we have no,
Yeah.
the town has that expertise, we have no expertise as to like, you know, what are the legal ramifications of any changes that make, and so it's always good to have the,
But Linda, here,
yes.
Please don't put speed bumps on Stillwater.
Oh, in Colorado, they have dips.
Please don't.
Yeah. So, I'm going, Dan, I think you and we can't do that,
Can I make a suggestion?
yeah.
Looking at the time,
Yep,
you have,
I gotta listen,
well, you have a couple of
Yeah.
people that haven't spoken.
Yeah.
And we have, the only other thing on there was.
what we're talking about right now.
Right, okay.
Yeah.
So I would suggest that you take that and at the next meeting.
Yeah.
Come in full board to be.
Yeah.
Working on a plan.
Yeah.
Right, is how do we do this? And listen, because I
Yeah.
think we're gonna maybe get some
Yeah.
additions to.
Go
to
ahead.
what should go on here, so.
Can we speak?
Yeah.
Hi, thank you. We live on Orono Landing Road, which feeds right into Forest Ave. Which feeds right into town.
Yeah.
And sometimes in the night, we'll be sitting there in the summertime, check the windows open. We hear screeching brakes and we'll hear a thump crunch. And this has happened more than once. I remember going out there one night with a flashlight and he took out a pine tree this big, broke it right off. I found him upside down in his vehicle, which was upside down, and somebody else got thrown out in the boat. And I stayed with him until the ambulance cops came. But that was just one incident, but we go out there, the same corner. Where Forest Avenue is headed towards Glenburn and then takes a left-hand turn. Just south of the lake. And there's car parks out in the woods, there's pieces of bumpers and fenders and who knows what, pieces of cars that we find out in there. The car has an accident and it gets hauled away by somebody, they don't clean it up, all of it. So we're out there taking this stuff to the dump, which is a pain. But that one corner is a problem. But the other thing is the speeding, and we've talked about that, I won't repeat too much of that, but the speeding on Forest Avenue is terrible. And a friend of mine who lives between the turnpike, the interstate there, downtown, where the speed bumps are. Went up, and he got a speed gun, radar gun. And he's caught people 60 miles an hour zipping through that same place with the speed bumps, jumping over the speed bumps, getting air as they go over. And he stands there with a speed gun and he's telling me it's crazy. That's the same speed they're going out on Forest Avenue or more than that. Speed limit is 45. And they're out there 70, maybe 80 miles an hour. Not all of them, a lot of them are 70, 65. And it's a speed trap or a speed area where a lot of people are speeding too much, just like on Stillwater. And I've mentioned this at other meetings, and I still think the way to stop the speeding is to arrest them. And if I go zipping through Veazey, if I go zipping through Bradley, I'm watching because police are stopping people and they're slowing it down. Both towns have a reputation of don't speed in my town. Orono doesn't have that. I think that might be it. That'll take 5 years to put on a piece of paper and file someplace. Stop them now. I talked to one police officer and he said, well, I don't have any place to pull over in Stillwater for this
You don't, yeah.
terrible gravel.
No.
So I'm thinking, all right, why don't we go get a couple of dump trucks to gravel and put them alongside that road and make it solid, so you can put the car in.
There's not enough space. They can't get off the road all the way, and on the other side is a culvert,
Who owns the land?
the state.
Someone would take.
Right by Caribou Bog?
Oh, no, they own that whole road. We use it, right, and we get taxes for it, but they own that entire road. There is no safe space for a police officer to sit, except for at the very, very bottom of the hill past Kelly. That's the only spot. I mean,
So
and
my
I can't even
suggestion
have
is
a
that
driveway.
Maybe a spot.
Yeah.
You can put in a road, it costs $2 million someplace, but how much does it cost to put a little parking place for somebody to pull over the side of the road? And if it's a state issue, then get a hold of the state. Get the state to put it in there.
Well, it certainly isn't a problem in Forest. Forest, there are places where you can pull over and be off the side of the road. So that may be a solution there, just right now it's not for Stillwater.
But I would like to see Orono get the reputation of a place where you're not supposed to speed. And the way to do that is to get people pulled over, get the police out there with their guns or whatever they need. And stop people, not this gun.
Radar gun, radar gun,
gun.
yes.
That might solve the problem.
Not to solve it that way.
Blow out some tires.
Get a reputation that the other towns have, that you shouldn't speed in our roads. That doesn't take 5 years to do that, you could probably do it in 2 months. The word gets out, don't speed on Forest Avenue and don't speed on Stillwater Avenue. Because if you do, you're gonna be watched on camera here, or get your license plate or whatever. There's technology that can do that. It costs something, but how much is 2 or 3 lives that smash up in a car load? Or kids getting off a school bus? No, you don't want these accidents to happen. I would like to see Orono enforce the law. We have a law. And if that's a state road, then it's a state law, okay, 45. If I'm going 80 down in Scarborough someplace, I'm probably gonna get nailed. But maybe not at Forest Avenue, I might be able to see what my truck will do. But I think it's a short-term, easy solution, I think, to have people get stopped from speeding. It's gonna cost some money probably. But how much is it? I don't know.
That's what
Yeah,
I
and
was getting through here is, please come in during budget season, because staff numbers are a huge topic. And we want services and we want to provide services, but we need to have the staff to do it, which leads to having the budget to do it. So having those kind of concerns during budget talks is important to have.
Well, people know what it is, I've talked before, I shouldn't have to be the one to say that, I mean, it's pretty obvious, everybody here knows about the speeding problem. So get the people on the budget committee to recognize.
That's the same thing for the highway. The people that are sitting there, they've been going by and the state police have been sitting out there, and they're not stopping people who are speeding. And it's been a real, like, we've now gotten the reputation, you can drive 70 through Bangor and nobody cares, so. Interesting that you thought of them.
But you got people coming into town from Glenborough, going somewhere. And they're repeating the same trip, like, that's where they work, that's where they live, and they drive through there. So it's not like they're learning anything new if they see a 45-mile-an-hour limit. If their neighbors get stopped, they get fined, they talk, people would pass the word. Don't speed on Fourth Avenue, don't speed, still fun. Don't do whatever they're doing. If speeding is 35 down.
55 times. I know she's there, but they had mentioned earlier about the coming out the Duck Road.
Yeah,
And
that's big.
is there a way to maybe shave that hill down? You know, remove stuff, the height so you can actually see?
We did lower it years ago.
They did.
So it's all grant.
Yeah.
I mean, that's why,
Yeah,
that's why it's like that,
Okay.
because there's a huge grant by
Yeah.
that.
You'd have to raise the.
We've had, I mean, this is not obviously a new issue, but we've had some conversations. That would be a solution, what does it look like, but.
Yeah.
We do know that there is significant ledge there that would be a significant.
Maybe it needs some lights. Get a solar. Solar, collect everything, I've seen, the traffic signals all over the place.
Or even
It's
it's
run by electricity.
instructions for people pulling out, because you think you've waited long enough and you haven't. And that, maybe it's just, you need to wait 20 seconds because people, I don't know. Not that anybody's gonna read that but me, but. Sorry.
Right.
I would like to hear from you. I have to go in a few minutes. So
Okay, I'm sorry, I
I
didn't-
totally want to hear everything.
Deeply appreciate, I didn't think on gender, and I don't know what survey you're talking about, but I didn't see that either, so I apologize. And I think that, I hear the frustration of people, and I'm one of them, living on Mountain View. And, it's a little bit alarming thinking that, the 5-year plan or some of these rules you said hadn't been looked at for 30 years, so now we're going 35 years, that's kind of crazy to me, when the people, you have the experts right here about issues in our neighborhoods. And I've lived on Mountain View for over 20 years. And the problem is, which I called our law enforcement people about football game, parking, and Halloween or some other holidays. And just asked for some help about getting like parking situations, like maybe no parking or have police up there. And the answer was no. We talked to the athletic director and asked him to make an announcement, like, what? You're divvying out parking lot duties to a school administrator on a public street in Orono. And I wasn't the only person that called. There were at least 2 other neighborhood families that called and asked, hey, can we have some temporary, parking signs or whatever? And it was not a good sign up there. Halloween night was not good. And people park on Mountain View where there is no lighting, no sidewalk, no soft shoulder. And for the games, and I have pictures, I have all that, plus I know people were saying, oh, well, there's trunk or treat. And that was not a solution because people went to trunk or treat and then came right up to our neighborhood. And I'm glad they do. But it was a safety issue with the cars and people and little children walking around because they park Edgewood, Mountain View, Frost, and they turn around in everybody's lawns or driveways or whatever. It's a mess. And what I am really upset about is that no response from the town. Sorry, we already talked to Mike Archer. Sorry, we already talked to Mike Archer. I know that at Mansfield Stadium in broad daylight, when they have the senior league, they put temporary, these no parking signs. For what, 24 hours or less? And that was my request and two other people's requests was denied flatly. Like, oh, there's a main hockey game, or call the police and we'll get people's towed. Yeah, well, that didn't happen. I mean, you've got the signs up, if you have a nuisance or whatever all around town, or we call the numbers, nothing gets done in preemptive mode. So Mountain View, it's a problem when we have games at the high school. And let me just tell you, I love Orono High and support every single one of their sports programs. So it's not that I'm anti anything, but it's dangerous. That Mountain View, just like Chad's Street, whoa, it's crazy. It is crazy. And you can't wait 5 more years. And if it wasn't for Dan, I gotta say, every single resident, except for maybe a couple elderly people, adults monitoring that street during Halloween, something tragic would have happened. No doubt of my mind. And yeah, I'm like,
Can you-
crap,
can you send us-
Logan.
Can you send some pictures? You said you had
Yes,
pictures?
I have them right here.
Be great.
Do you have them digitally? Can you email them to
Who
me?
wants them?
Could send them to, is it D Demerit and M Powers at Orono.org?
And Andrea, send them to Andrea too, right?
Demerit, how about I just send it to one of you guys forward?
You can send it to me. Powers, I'll get it to Andrea.
Alright.
Okay, good.
All right, great.
Stuff.
I'll give you my card.
Yeah.
You can send it to
You
me.
should send it to me.
Okay.
Send it to me, I will make sure.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate it. It was good and we, so our hope. Like, if we had unlimited resources, we'd take care of everything instantly. And I don't wanna put things, 5 years, I don't want anything to be 5 years away. If I could, I would snap my fingers and have Main Street done. Like, and have accessible sidewalks, and we could have bicycle paths all the way out for us where people could actually get out there, like. I want it all and I want it yesterday. And so I have to work within we all work within a limited budget, and it's in no way. Does the staff want to put things off? They never ever want to have there be serious safety issues. I don't want there to be safety issues.
It's difficult to hear that language.
Yeah.
I know
But-
you're for
Right.
Tom, but for us to hear the language of.
Yeah. So
It's difficult.
yeah, we have hundreds of safety issues in the town, and we want to get to them. And so without a plan, I think without a plan, it's a lot less likely that we're gonna get. And so what we would like to do is get a plan on the board, and no plan is gonna be perfect. And we'll try and work with the community. We're here, you're telling us, and that makes a big difference to us. It makes a big difference to the staff. And so thank you for coming on.
You might have a list to say it's planning thing, under like.
Right.
Somehow you gotta get priorities.
Yep, that's right, that's what we're doing. Yeah, that's what we're doing.
That's a difficult thing to do.
Yeah, that's what we're doing.
Who does this?
This is the start of that process. This committee is doing that, so we are starting right now. This is the process you guys are in on the ground level. So we're working on it. We have a survey. We have this now. You're gonna be online in perpetuity here. You can always bring us back. We can put the timestamps and say. You're there's a already on it. Like the Aaron.
It's great, because I don't remember the past, being able to come to the town with problems. And with past the town manager, I presented issues with stop signs that put up, told that even your police officers are driving through and not stopping, your solution was to take them down with no other ramifications. So I think it's great that you guys are opening up, bringing our issues here, listening to them. And possibly the solution before, I don't think he's done, so I think it's great that we're doing it.
You still want a state road.
Yes.
Yeah.
We both have the same problem.
Yeah. So thank you guys.
Thank you.
Thanks.
I really appreciate it. I'm gonna email just, the notes, that I have on this, Dan, to you and Andrea tomorrow. We can't
Okay,
discuss, right, because there's three of us, we have to, if there's three counselors that have to. So I'm just gonna give those notes out and then we'll move on and make the plan for December meeting and really start the prioritization and start the planning, which does take time, especially if it's 1 hour once a month. And so there might be some time that we're gonna have to put in beyond that. So thank you all for being here. I really appreciate it. Thank you for your concerns. I love Mountain View. I was concerned about moving there when I moved here and there wasn't anything for sale there. I was like, oh, it's near the school. Now I would live in that neighborhood in a heartbeat. In a
It's a great
heartbeat.
neighborhood,
It's a great
great people.
I love my neighborhood too. It's kind of hard to go wrong.
It's,
thanks, everybody.
it's
Thanks, Dan.
Stone.
Yep.
I'm gonna reiterate, do not put any sort of speed bump on spillwater.
It's
When we-
seasonal.
The person that, oh, I'll wait till you're down there. The person that's